What's going on YouTube? This is Just My Opinion, and today I will be reviewing Ed Sheeran's album Plus. Now, he has his new album Division, which is set to release in March, so in anticipation of that new project, I decided that I would revisit one of his older projects. Now, Ed Sheeran is a acoustic pop slash folk singer and songwriter from England and is living proof that gingers do have souls. Shout out to Mikey on that one. Now, Ed Sheeran gained a lot of popularity with this album right here, his debut album. First, most notably in Europe, particularly in England. But it wasn't until Taylor Swift co-signed him, had him featured on her album, and also brought him on tour with her that he really started to gain the same type of popularity in the US as he did overseas. And ever since then, he has become an international sensation who has not only been making hits for himself, but has also written and co-wrote many songs for many other artists in the industry today. Now, the album leads off with the song A-Team, which is actually the first time I was ever introduced to Ed Sheeran, and it was the first song I ever heard from him, and is still today one of, if not my favorite songs ever that he has put out. Right off the gate, you could tell that his voice is soft, but still has decent range, and he could definitely still sing. As far as musically goes, this is a guitar ballad. It does have, though, some nice pianos and strings layered in to the background of the song as well. It also has a beautiful guitar solo at the bridge of the song. Now, the song itself sounds fairly pleasant and light, but is actually all about a woman who is a coke addict and a prostitute looking for a better life. This is without a doubt one of my standouts on the album. The next song after A-Team is Drunk. This one's a little bit more up-tempo. It has some acoustic and electric guitars layered in. This one also has a nice beat to it. Again, his voice is very soft on the ears, but on the chorus, you could definitely hear the range in his voice, and he definitely got some soul to his singing as well. Now, this song is all about how a relationship in his past did not work out, and he cannot see that it will work out any longer. He's in a bit of a depression, so he goes out and decides that he's going to get drunk every evening. I love the part too as well where he talks about how he only drinks beer and he doesn't drink champagne because he has nothing to celebrate about. I thought that was very interesting lyric. Now, song number 3 is called You and I, and he's actually rapping for a majority of this song. And I mean, although his second verse was a little bit more difficult to keep up with than his first verse, don't let the red hair fool you. Dude can spit. This song is basically all about a girl that he is no longer seeing because he was going off on the road on tour, and she was going to university, or England slang, uni, hence the name of the song, You and I, Uni. I love the line in the first verse where he says that he no longer has waves of missing you, and it's more like tsunami tides coming down my eyes. I thought that was excellent wordplay. He had some excellent wordplay throughout this song, and another good song from him. We then get the song Grade 8, which is another up-tempo song. And I gotta say, one thing about the album that I do really like from him is he does have a nice range of slow songs and more up-tempo songs, and I like the way that the album is paced together. So after You and I, which is a little bit slower of a song, we get Grade 8, which has a nice bass line to it. It's catchy. Some nicely layered guitars in there between the acoustic and the electric. And this song is basically all about a girl who is basically winning over the heart of Ed Sheeran. Now, we then get the song Wake Me Up, which is perhaps his sweetest and perhaps most vulnerable song on the entire album. Production-wise, it is extremely simple. It's just piano chords in the background while he's basically just singing and telling this story about a girl who he really cares about. The way that he describes their relationship is extremely detailed. It also showcases and highlights the little things about this girl and their relationship that he really enjoys about her. I love some of the lines that he drops about her eyes turning from green to gray in the winter, and how they watch Shrek and play video games together. When he gets upset and loses, he throws the controller at the TV screen. I know that I used to do that back when I was like 8 years old too. I love the way that he tells this story. From here we get Small Bump, which if A-Team is not my favorite song by him, this most likely would be my favorite song by him. I love the production on this. It just sounds absolutely beautiful, especially the acoustic guitars in this. The acoustic guitars just sound beautiful. The percussion is nice as well, but it feels distant from the rest of the mix. And then also throughout the chorus of the song, some nice strings and pianos come into the track. Now, this song is all about a fetus in a soon-to-be mother, and Ed Sheeran is giving a detailed description again about he's going to become a father and what it's going to be like for him to be a father. Now, forewarning, spoiler alert for anybody who has not heard the song. In the end of the song, unfortunately, the fetus actually winds up dying in the mother's womb, and so Ed Sheeran no longer becomes a father. We then get the song This, which is another acoustic ballad. One little gripe that I would have about this album is that some of the plain and basic ballads on this song do kind of start to blend together after a while. This one being one of the weaker ones, but still a very good song. This is all about how Ed Sheeran is torn between the start of a new relationship and the end of a past relationship. And it is definitely one of his more passionate vocal performances as well on the album. But from this slow ballad, we get into the song The City, which is another up-tempo song, which actually features him beatboxing for the first time on this album. And he actually pulls it off pretty well. Again, instrumentation-wise, a nice mix of electric and acoustic guitars, and there's even some type of electronic sound used on the chorus of the song for the first time in the album. And this song is basically all about Ed Sheeran feeling uncomfortable and lonely in the new city in which he's living in, which at this time is London. And I just love the feel of the song because the aesthetic of the song actually takes you there. It actually makes you feel like you're walking down the streets of London, and although there's a lot going on, you get the sense of loneliness and moodiness in the song as well, and I think it's beautifully done. Now, after this, we get the song Lego House, which is another standout track of mine. This was another one of the singles that really helped out his career, really boosted his career to the next level. Particularly because of the music video, which actually featured Rupert Grint, which if you don't know who that is, he played Ron Weasley in the Harry Potter series. Now, this song, in my opinion, is perhaps his best vocal performance on the entire album. He does a little bit of rapping on this as well. Again, he pulls it off very nicely. Really nice blend of guitars and pianos throughout it. Has a good beat. And this song is basically all about a relationship, and he basically uses the metaphors for Legos in this song to kind of describe the relationship, basically talking about how it's very easy to build a relationship, but it does take time. But then just as easy as it is to build it and sustain it like a Lego house, it is also just as easy to break it, which I thought was absolutely fantastic the way that he kind of used that metaphor for a relationship. From here we get the song You Need Me, I Don't Need You. On this one, he's doing more beatboxing and he actually raps the entire song. It has similar instrumentation as the song The City, which has featured a few songs before this, but less moody and a little bit more in your face. And Ed Sheeran basically is getting his stun on throughout this entire song, talking about his rise to fame, his come up. I love the line actually where he basically says that he doesn't need other wordsmen to make tunes. And I do appreciate this line considering the fact that if you look at the majority of his projects, the only singer or songwriter and the only producers are basically him and Jake Gosling, which is the case with this album. They produced and wrote almost essentially this entire album by themselves. This, unfortunately, though, is one of my least favorite songs in the track listing, only because, again, I felt like his rapping at times actually was a little too fast and it was a little bit difficult to keep up with, and also not only that, I just thought it was a little bit less interesting than some of the other song topics throughout the album. Then we get the song Kiss Me, which again is another acoustic and piano ballad. It also has some nice percussions to it as well. It also has a beautiful guitar solo towards the end of the song. And I would say out of all of the slower ballads on this album, this one is definitely my standout out of all of them. And this song is really simple, basically about two lovers eventually falling in love with each other. And the closing track on the standard edition is Give Me Love / The Parting House. And this song right here has beautiful string sections throughout the entire song. It also has probably the hardest hitting percussion throughout this entire song as well. And this song is basically all about this girl that he is in the midst of being in a break with, but yet he's craving this girl's love, almost like a drug. And I love how in the song builds and it gets louder and louder. Ed Sheeran is starting to shout towards the end of this song, basically showing how addicting love can be and how addicted to this lover he is, like I said, like a drug. Now, there is a hidden track, though, towards the end of this song that pops in called The Parting Glass. It's supposed to be a remake of a traditional Irish song. I understand the sentiment to it, but I thought it was kind of a boring way to end. I think it would have been much better if he just left this out, maybe made this a bonus track and actually ended off with the song Give Me Love by itself. Now, as far as the bonus tracks goes, Little Bird and Sunburn were pretty average. Gold Rush, it did have a catchy chorus and a nice solo in it, but again, nothing too spectacular. But the song Autumn Leaves, I really, really love this song. This was definitely the standout amongst the bonus tracks, and I wish it could have made it onto the standard version of the album. This song is basically all about a friend of his who passed away, and the song just sounds absolutely beautiful. So in conclusion, this album is of course a very sensitive, vulnerable, acoustic pop album, but I must say though that I really, really enjoyed this album as a whole. Ed Sheeran has some great storytelling in it and some great imagery as well that he portrays. It's both catchy and very easy on the ears. And not only that, but it showcases Ed Sheeran's versatility and it shows and proves that he is extremely talented. The only thing that I would really change is I would love to see Autumn Leaves featured on the standard edition of the album. And if there was any song that I maybe had to cut off or replace from the standard edition, it would either be The Parting House or it would be You Need Me, I Don't Need You, and replace it with Autumn Leaves. And I think this would be a damn near perfect album. Overall, I rate this a 9 out of 10. And I cannot wait to hear Ed Sheeran's new album. I will most likely be reviewing that when that comes out. Again, this is just my opinion, and thank you for watching, YouTube.